Yeah. In this video, we're going to be discussing 5 tips to help you better commit to your skate tricks. So without further ado, let's get right into the video. Number 1, accept that you will fail. If you take a video of an AI playing a video game or trying to solve a solution to a math problem, you will see in the very beginning that it has to fail a lot of times before it reaches its solution. It's the same way with skateboarding. Most times in skateboarding, failing means falling, and this can cause us to tense up and overthink what we should do to land our trick. But if we can tell ourselves before to accept that falling means we're going to get better in the long run, this can help us commit more to a scarier trick. Everybody has a meter of the things that they're comfortable with when it comes to skating. The next hardest trick, or the trick that you should be able to do next, usually lies right outside of that comfortability zone, and many times it's not as far away as you think. If you've been skating for a while and you've taken a pretty hard slam here or there, you know that after you take that slam, you usually feel better. You're like, oh, okay, that's probably the worst thing that could happen. And then 9 times out of 10, you're gonna go back up and land that trick. This segues into number 2, know how to bail. Bailing is no doubt one of the best skills you can learn in skateboarding. It will keep you on your board longer and help you avoid serious injury. Bailing is really an art, and you can sometimes see pros using it in rough cut videos to get closer to just doing the whole trick. They use it as a method to inch closer and inch closer to being fully on top of a rail or fully sending a trick down some stairs. Another great thing that I don't think people talk about a lot when talking about bailing is that once you get enough experience bailing, it almost sounds obvious, but it becomes muscle memory, and it allows you to not have to think so much about, oh my God, if I fall, what will I do? If I fall, I'm gonna hurt my arm. Instead, you focus completely on the trick, and as soon as you fall, your body just takes over and it's like, okay, we're in bail mode now. Let's take over and do what we know to do. Once you get this down, your bailing, where it becomes almost second nature, it will allow you to do number 3 on this list, which is relax. Sometimes all that is needed to land a trick is a deep breath. You just have to tell yourself it's going to be all right, and you just completely relax. A good way to practice this is playing skate with skaters at the skate park or your friends. I really recommend doing it with people you're relaxed with because you're more laid back when you're just kind of hanging out. But if you practice being laid back while playing skate, but trying wholly or completely when you do the tricks, it will really help you, because you'll notice when you're laid back and you try a trick, or you're joking around, but you're like, oh, let me just try it because I'm probably not gonna land it. You'll realize you get closer than you would have thought of. Like, oh, I actually almost landed that. It's probably because you were joking with your friends, or you had a joke that you wanted to tell next that was on your mind and you weren't thinking about falling. There's many ways to relax. Put on your favorite music, cruise around some easy spots, hang out with people. Even smiling can help you relax. Just the act of smiling can help you relax. For the moments where you cannot relax, this is where number 4 comes into play. Talk through the worst possible scenario. Being unable to commit to your trick is a byproduct of fear. And this fear is because your body is uncomfortable with what it's doing. It has no experience with you succeeding in what you're trying, and in the back of your mind, it knows there's a potential for you to get hurt. So your lizard brain will try to protect you from what you're doing. A way to combat this is to talk over why you might be scared of the trick. Are you scared that your foot might land on the front of the board and it'll slip out and you'll break your elbow and you'll be in the hospital for 2 weeks? Talk out the whole scenario. At the end of the scenario, talk about why that's unlikely. Okay, no, I know I have my ollies down. Okay, I know I have my shove-its down. I know I have my kick flips down. So this is unlikely that I'll slip out. What's more likely is that I'll land on the board and I may have to roll onto my hands. I did learn how to bail, so my body's gonna take over. Talking through these things can help you feel more comfortable, even though you're not sending the trick yet. Most of the time, if you're skating within your comfort level, or even above it, it's unlikely that you'll get hurt because you've been skating in that mode for a while. You're just trying a trick that you haven't yet. It doesn't mean that it's out of your league because you haven't done this. You're just uncomfortable with the actual trick, not the level that it's at. This takes us to our final tip, number 5. Your board is your lifeline. It's hard to see it when you're scared, especially on a new trick, but landing on your board is way much better than bailing and kicking it out in most instances because your board becomes a random object that is flailing underneath you. Once you commit to that bail, your brain goes into concrete mode. I need to get to a point of friction. And when it does that, if you land back on your board, your brain is not in skateboard mode. Your brain is not in balance mode. So you're gonna step on that and slip out, and you're gonna have to adapt to a whole nother set of circumstances that you wouldn't have had if you would have just tried to land on your board. I'll think about it like this. I have really a 50-50 chance to either land on the top of my board or the bottom of my board if it's flipping. It's less likely that I'll land primo. It's still a possibility, but it's less likely than landing on the top or the bottom. And if my knees are bent correctly and I'm not landing stiff, it's unlikely that I'll slip out. If you can convince yourself that those things are better than taking a gamble and bailing and possibly not knowing what the board's gonna do, it's gonna make it way easier to commit. In the end, it's all a mental battle. And I like to think that if there's a human being out there in this earth that is able to land these tricks, you listening to this video, are able to land those tricks as well. The most important thing about committing is making sure that you aren't getting negative or putting yourself down. This mindset can actually hinder you from progressing. So try a trick, miss it, smile and laugh, and then try it again. This is honestly the recipe for success in getting closer to committing to your tricks. Thank you guys for watching the video.